Hey, it's Amanda from The Fundamental Home, and today it's Wednesday, and that means it's Worthy Wednesday, so I'm taking a break from all of the Q&A questions and talking about something that's been on my heart about Worthy Wednesday. You see, my husband listens to sermons every day, lots of them, and there's certain preachers that we hear over and over again, and certain ones that I feel like I have heard every single message that they've ever done. And yesterday, my husband turned on a sermon from one of the preachers that he enjoys, and I heard one that I have never heard before. And I thought, and it's from one particular preacher that I'm telling you, I thought I've heard everything the man's ever done. Never heard this one before in my life. But he kind of, in this message, it really encompassed everything that had been on my heart lately. And he was talking about Romans 12:1, where he said, run with patience the race that is set before you, right? And he was talking about the Olympics. Now this gentleman, his name is Curtis Hudson, if you're interested in knowing who it is. But anyway, he had preached this message years ago, and he said that when he preached it, it was the year of the Olympics. And of course, this year is the year of the Olympics, so it was kind of relevant to me. And he said, you know, when you're in the Olympics and you're running a race, you have a lane. And, you know, when you're running your race, you're staying in your lane and you're focused on your running. You know, it's not that you're not mindful of the other people, but what really matters is that you do your best and run as fast as you can. Because the ones that are worrying about what everyone else is doing, they're not going to run as quickly as they can. You have to put all of your energy, all of your mindset, everything that you're doing into running your race the very best that you can and getting to that finish line as quickly as you can. And he was talking about how a lot of times we in our lives are so busy looking around and comparing ourselves to others that we don't live our life in the very best way that we can. And it really resonated with me and the things that I've been thinking about since doing these Q&A questions. I was thinking about how I'm putting all my information out there, and I don't mind sharing. I really don't. I mean, there are certain things that I keep private, but I mean, I'm pretty much an open book. If you met me in real life, I'm no different than this. I'm pretty out there with my stuff. But that being said, I think when the danger of being so out there and so open is that it leaves room for a lot of comparison. You know, a lot of people, and I certainly don't mind if somebody says to me, oh, hey, I do this different. That's fine. But what I don't like is when it feels like there's competing. Do you know what I mean? When people are trying to one-up you. And I certainly don't want to feel like I'm trying to one-up anyone else. Do you know what I mean? So I was thinking about it just in relation to all these things I'm putting out there. Like, for instance, I put the 2 videos out, and I knew without a doubt before I put the videos out that the skirt thing was going to come up and the dating thing was going to come up. I was a little surprised by the hair, but the skirt thing I knew was going to come up and the dating thing, because that's just one of those things that I get all the time. But I want to make sure that I'm careful when I put this information out there that people don't think that it's a comparison thing. You know, I've talked about it a lot, so you're probably going to get tired of hearing it, but it's just this idea that we don't have to agree on everything. And I think that the Lord talks to people about different areas of their lives because in different areas they struggle. You know, there are certain things that I don't struggle with that might be a hard struggle for someone else. And someone else might not think it's a big deal as far as what they're wearing, but that was actually a big struggle for me. So there's just different areas that affect people in different ways, and we all have our own individual journey. But I think that's the point of this thing that Curtis Hudson was talking about, is that we have our own lane. We have our own race that we're running. And the difference between what we're doing and what Olympic athletes do is that we're not really in competition. You know, I'm not really in competition with anyone else. I heard one preacher say, there's no competition, and I've actually said this to someone this week, so it was funny that it came up again, but there's no competition in the Bible. There's only co-laborers. And I feel that way about people that I do things with, that we don't have to compete with one another. You know, we're in this together. We're working toward the same end. We're working toward, you know, a life of peace and joy and happiness. And that's just how it comes together. But it doesn't have to be competitive. You know, we're all on YouTube. We're all, like, I'm celebrating my 7,000 subscribers. And there's a lot of YouTubers with a whole lot more subscribers than I have. And I'm happy for them because I think they're great people. And I hope the other people that like came up, you know, that are coming up and growing in their subscribership, man, I hope they succeed. You know, I'm going to be the first one to tell you about different channels that I like and think you should go subscribe to, because I think they're great people and I want to see them move forward and do more. You know what I mean? But I hope that everyone has this attitude of we're in it together. You know, so even if we don't do things the same way, I think this is just a place, and not just my channel, but YouTube, the world, where we can encourage one another rather than constantly being in competition, rather than worrying about everyone else in their own lane. You run your race in your lane. And the point is like, if you think about the Olympics and think about really great athletes, they really do encourage one another. You know, you watch gymnastics, I think of that's not running. But I enjoy watching gymnastics, and a lot of time the girls are on the sidelines. I watch the girls, obviously. I just don't watch the guys. I don't know. Sorry, guys. But anyway, I like watching the girls do gymnastics. And they're on the sidelines and they're you know, cheering for one another. Technically, they're in competition with one another. But they realize the fact that they're on the same team. And it doesn't, they kind of know, oh, well, this one is better at balance beam and I'm better at the uneven bars. So when the one does really well on the balance beam, they're like, yay, great. You know, maybe they didn't get as high a score, but man, they're glad for their teammate because they realize they're all on the same team and they're working on it together. So when it comes to Worthy Wednesday, I wanted to bring that up because I think that it really impacts our ability to do our best when we're constantly worrying about what other people are doing and comparing ourselves. You know, you do not have to compare yourself to me or anyone else that you see on YouTube. We're putting our stuff out there, but I've said it and I'll continue to say it, we're not perfect people. And sometimes the areas that we do really well in are also the areas that we've really failed in. And I've said it before that like one of the areas I feel like I've done really well in is parenting, but also my biggest failures are in parenting. So, I mean, if you saw just my failures, then you'd probably think I was a horrible parent. But if you just see all the good things, then you think, oh, she's so great. But I'm just a person, so I'm really in the middle. It's really a balance. And so you just have to expect that when you see people and not worry so much about whether or not you're measuring up. Because I mean, you don't need to measure up to me or anyone else. Do you know what I mean? I notice I keep saying that a lot. I'm sorry, so I'm gonna work on that. But anyway, I think that it's important just to mention that because there's a lot of comparison out there with moms and wives and women in general. And I really think that we, rather than comparing ourselves, and the Bible even says comparing ourselves among ourselves isn't wise. So rather than doing that, let's just focus on running our race, right? The one that's set before us with patience, right? And encouraging our co-laborers, our teammates, to do their best, you know? And there are going to be some people who are better at one event than the other. That doesn't mean they're better overall, you know? But let's just be happy for them when they're successful in their one event. Right? Because they're in turn going to be happy for you when you're successful in your event. You know? I gotta stop saying that. Anyway, that's it. It's Worthy Wednesday. That's all I gotta say. I'm gonna keep this one fairly short. And tomorrow you guys can catch me on my third Q&A video, and I'm gonna be talking about what am I going to be talking about? I'm going to be talking about my questions about my YouTube channel. I had a lot of questions about that, so that'll be tomorrow. And then, of course, Friday is Fundamentally Frugal Friday. Rather than giving you a tip, I'm going to answer all of my questions, which will give you actually several tips, because lots of people ask me very specific questions about our finances. So I'll do that on Friday. And we will have a Frugal Family Food Junior Edition, our last one for this month. And I will tell you the name of that tomorrow, because it escapes me right now. I'm very sorry. I'll tell you that I've already seen the video. And it's a little girl, and she's so cute, and the name is just on the tip of my tongue, and I can't remember it. Sorry. But you guys are going to subscribe to them. Because we're co-laboring together, right? So, we're going to work together. It's a really great family. Really, really great family. Anyway, you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow.